Joining us now to break down the current situation in the state of Arizona and what it could mean in the bigger picture is Representative Debbie Lesko. The congresswoman just reelected to serve the state's 8th district. So, Congressman, first, I want to say congratulations on your reelection. But right now, all eyes are on your home state. Right now, Joe Biden has about a 15,000 vote lead as votes are still coming in. So I want to ask you, what is the current outlook of the Arizona situation?
Well, this election is not over, and Arizona isn't finished counting. I think we have over 70,000 votes that still have to be counted. And ever since election night, the difference between Biden and Trump has been shrinking. So Trump's trend is going up. So it's still possible that President Trump could win here in Arizona. But there's also a lawsuit that was filed by the Trump campaign here in Arizona because there was documented problems on election day. Basically, our machines in Arizona that count the ballots determine right away if there's an overcount, like a problem on the ballot. And then there's a red light that says reject. I want to take this ballot and correct it. Or there's a green button that says, oh, I don't care. Let's put the ballot through anyway. And then that particular area where there's a problem won't be counted at all. Well, there's documentation. I've heard videos, also affidavits from not only voters, but poll observers saying that in many cases, the county poll workers pushed the button, the green button, or told the voters to go ahead, push the green button. And that's not right. So the Trump campaign has asked that all of those ballots be personally inspected.
And I don't think that it's too much to ask for an audit. I mean, I love our electoral system. I love our country. I love the people who are participate in our elections. But I don't think it's too much to ask to make sure that they're fair. A verifiable process that you're talking about right now, just making sure that people who are concerned that their vote did not count this election cycle should be able to go to sleep tonight knowing that they did get to participate in our democratic republic. I don't think that's asking too much, but here we are looking across the rest of the country as well. And I'm glad you bring up that lawsuit because there are additional lawsuits being filed in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, states like that. Do you have concerns that voter fraud may be more widespread, or do you think that it is just isolated?
You know, I don't know, but there's good people in all these different states checking into it. I mean, my good friend Doug Collins is checking into Georgia. And then a great attorney here, Corey Langhofer, is in charge of the legal battle here in Arizona. And I talked to Jim Jordan on the phone just, I think, yesterday, and he was in Pennsylvania helping there. So there's a lot of good legal minds working on this. And you're absolutely right. Half of America voted for President Trump. And Joe Biden, if the tables were turned, he'd do the same thing. I mean, he'd be challenging this stuff too. So, you know, what your other viewers said is, hey, Joe Biden, if you really want to be fair, if you really want calmness in America, then let the votes be counted and let the legal battles see where they go.
And I think that's very well put, because if he does want to be this unifier, such as he said during his speech, I believe on Saturday night, this would be a good place to start, making sure that our electoral system is working, making sure that those people that he's trying to reach out to across the aisle, if he were to become president, that being the 70 million people that you're talking about, making sure that they get to participate in this democracy. I think that would be an olive branch of sort, greater than any other speech that he'd be willing to give or anything like that. But I do want to shift down the ballot as well. We know that, for example, the Senate races are going to come down to Georgia, but Republicans were able to chip away at the Democrat majority in the House as well. What do you attribute that to?
Well, you know, we had good candidates. That's first and foremost. But also, the Democrats have gone really radical in the U.S. House of Representatives, more and more so when they're talking about defunding the police, when they're, you know, Congresswoman Jayapal, she even denied that there was a takeover in her city of Seattle. And I mean, that's ridiculous. And so they're really going radical to the left. And America is not there. America does not want that. America does not want to give $1,200 checks to illegal immigrants like they push through. America does not want to prioritize illegal immigrants over U.S. citizens. America wants to support law enforcement, not rioters and mobs. So I think that's part of it. And you know what? We flipped 8 seats. And what's interesting is Fox News, predicted Arizona on election night went for Biden, which I thought was very premature. But then they also said that the House was going to be totally controlled by Democrats, that Democrats were even going to gain seats. And that turned out to be totally untrue. So I think all the media needs to calm down and wait for the votes to be counted. And then we'll see who wins.
No, you're exactly right, because, I mean, the fact that we're talking about a 15,000 vote difference 6 days out from the election, even if Arizona does end up going for Joe Biden, Fox News called that too early. And in fact, many people are saying that people were still waiting in line to make their vote, and it could have maybe made those people leave, go home, whatever it may be. So I think that the media, pollsters, myself included, we need to rethink some of the things moving forward, because, I mean, the polls were so far off. Media pundits were just wrong. They were just wrong this election cycle. But you bring up the idea that the Democratic Party is moving more to the left, and I don't think there's any dispute about that. In fact, some of your Democratic colleagues during a caucus call were voicing those very same concerns. Abigail Spanberger saying, if we, for example, talk about defunding the police, things of that nature, we're going to get blown out in 2022. That, of course, being the midterms. So right now, there's some question about whether or not House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will even keep that title. Of course, knowing that moderates are now upset about her because of that lack of building of seats this election, but also progressives coming at her as well. Do you think Speaker Pelosi's title is in jeopardy?
Well, only time will tell, but last time around she had 15 Democrats voted against her and 10 of those are still around. So if 10 of those people vote against her, she's not speaker.
No, I think that's very well put. And just to be clear for some of our viewers, too, in order for her to get that role, she did have to make some concessions to the progressives that were incoming right then. I mean, for example, putting Ilhan Omar on the Foreign Affairs Committee, giving Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, people like that more influence. That was the first steps of really the moderate base, if you will, of the Democratic Party first starting to cave to the progressives. And I think that's just the beginning of what we're going to see over the next couple of days. But Representative Debbie Lesko, it's always a pleasure having you on this program, especially right now when the state of Arizona is in a state of flux. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.